Does he agree with ACT leader Rodney Hyde's statement on Radio New Zealand this morning in relation to ACT's amendment to the Marine and Coastal Area Takutae Moana Bill to explicitly prohibit Māori with customary title from charging fees for access to coastal areas? I have an email here from the Attorney-General's office saying that they would support such a provision in the bill. That is to say, I've got that in writing.
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Mr Speaker, I haven't seen ACT's amendment, so I can neither agree nor disagree. But what I can say is this. While the bill doesn't enable charging for public access, for the sake of absolute certainty, I am prepared to promote an amendment to the bill to provide that public access is free public access. This accords with the government and the Māori Party's long-held bottom line of guaranteed public access and should satisfy the ACT Party's concerns. Such an amendment would apply to all New Zealanders equally and would apply to all the common and marine and coastal area, which excludes those areas held in private title.
Point of order, the Honourable Darren Hughes.
Mr Speaker, I'm not sure that the Attorney-General has gone as far as he needs to in order to answer the question. The authenticated quote from the member has put in to support his question refers to a provision in the bill, in other words, an amendment, and it asks whether the Minister agrees with a comment, with an assertion made by another Minister in respect to that amendment. Now, the Attorney did start off by saying he's not in a position to agree or disagree, but the point is, because he said he hadn't seen the amendment, but the authenticated quote implies that he has seen the provision of the bill. If his answer could clarify both legs of the primary, as is required, as is allowed by the standing orders, I think that would be a fuller answer.
Speaking to the point of order, there's a difference between
the Honourable Chris Finlayson.
There's a difference between a general provision and the particular amendment, and that is the point I'm making. The statement in the question was related to the particular amendment.
Order. It's an interesting point that's been raised. As I understand the question asked, it was a very simple question. It asked the Attorney-General whether he agreed with a statement by Rodney Hyde. It didn't ask anything about an amendment. It asked, did he agree with a statement on Radio New Zealand, quote, I have an email from the Attorney-General's office saying that they would support such a provision in the bill. That is to say, I've got that in writing. That's what the question was asking the Minister, whether the Attorney-General, whether he'd agree or not agree with that statement. Now, I can't insist on too specific an answer, but as I listened to the answer, the Attorney-General referred to a different issue. The Attorney-General referred to the provisions of the proposed amendment. And that's not what the question asks. It asks, does he agree with the statement that says, I have an email from the Attorney-General's office, and I invite the Attorney-General to answer that question.
Well, I'm not questioning you, sir, but it says in relation to the amendment, and that's what I addressed.
With respect, this is a primary question on notice, and the point of the question is testing, is asking the Attorney-General whether he agrees, and there's no precise answer to whether or not he agrees with the Honourable Rodney Hyde, but the particular issue he's being asked whether or not he agrees with is the statement, I have an email here from the Attorney-General's office saying that they would support such a provision in the bill. That is to say, I've got that in writing. And the questioner is asking, does he agree with that? That the Honourable Rodney Hyde has such a thing in writing or not? Now, there's no specific answer to that, but that's what the question asks, and I do invite the Attorney-General to, since it's a primary question, to address that.
In relation to a particular amendment, no. In relation to the general question of charging for public access, yes.
I appreciate the answer. The Honourable Shane Jones.
Mr Speaker, can the Minister confirm his current stance reflects greater affection for Rodney Hyde's view about race relations than his views about the Māori Party's view of race relations in respect of the seabed and foreshore?
I have great respect and affection for both the Māori Party and the ACT Party, with whom I enjoy working on a variety of issues and having vigorous exchanges without getting into personalities.
Question.
Speaker.
Honourable Shane Jones. Order. I've called the Honourable Shane Jones.
Sir, does the Minister agree with the prevailing Māori view coming from a number of iwi that there will now be a hierarchy of property rights where Māori property rights can be diluted, but no such restrictions will apply to those of others who might enjoy subsisting interests in the seabed and foreshore?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Well, the Speaker was sedulous with me, and perhaps a bit more generous in allowing that question. Let me say this, that a clear distinction needs to be made between customary title and freehold title, and my answer to Mr Jones is this: one has to distinguish between the two concepts, and the fact that freehold title is different from customary title does not mean it's inferior. So the answer to the question is no, I reject those comments.
Before I call the Honourable Member, can I just point out to the Attorney-General that while he may be grumpy with the Speaker's ruling, he shouldn't then comment on it. The Honourable Shane Jones.
Mr Speaker, assiduous rather than sedulous, I think, would have been better, Mr Speaker.
Order. No, we're not.
Does he agree, Mr Speaker, does the Minister agree with the Māori Party leader, Dr Peter Sharples, that Rodney Hyde's premature claim is mischievous and that the only reason ACT are going to do this is because they need some wins? And are we likely to see many other wins to the detriment of the Māori Party?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Well, no, it should be sedulous, actually, but no, I don't. I think the better approach is this: that I have I'm privileged to have two strong coalition partners, and they will express different views honestly and genuinely. On the one hand, but at the bottom line is this: that I think everyone agrees, certainly the Maori Party do, the National Party do, and the ACT Party do, that there needs to be guaranteed public access and an understanding that that should be free.
Speaker.
The Honourable Shane Jones.
Point of order, I invite the Minister to table the Oxford Dictionary.
Now, order. The member has been in this House a while. Order. And knows that he should wait if he's raising a point of order until he's called. And what's more, he knows that wasn't a point of order at all. Now, I think both members have transgressed, probably to a similar extent. So we'll consider that a draw. I think the Speaker may have lost in that exchange, but never mind. We'll go on to question number... supplementary, the Honourable Rodney Hyde. Order. The member's called the supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Hyde. Is the Attorney-General saying that he will support an amendment to the Marine and Coastal Area Bill prohibiting charging for public access to the beach?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson. Order.
The answer is I will be very keen to promote such an amendment. I don't have it within it. When my name's not Stalin, unlike when Helen Clark was Prime Minister. I don't have it within it the power to just...
Point of order.
Freely.
Point of order. Point of order.
Point of order. 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 Point of order has been called. The Honourable David Parker.
That sort of reference is unnecessary, sir, and brings this House into disrepute.
Order. I've got to apologise to an old member that my hearing is somewhat impaired again at the moment, and I didn't actually hear what on earth the Attorney-General said, and it's difficult for me to judge. I don't want the member to repeat if it was ungenerous. Is the member prepared to actually withdraw the comment he made?
I'll withdraw.
I appreciate that.
No, I'm prepared to promote...
Order. Is the member now wishing to answer further?
No, I want to answer the question.
The Honourable Chris Finlayson answering the question.
Yes, I want to answer the question because, yes, I am prepared to promote an amendment, but the key point is the devil's in the detail and in the wording. For example, Section 40, subsection 2 of the 2004 Act contains a prohibition on charging for use and occupation. It doesn't refer to access. So it's important to get the wording right, and that is what I will be doing as I undertake my duties sedulously.
Mr Speaker.
Hilary Calvert.
Supplementary. Does the Attorney-General agree that iwi customary marine title holders will be able to charge a fee for new mussel farms over the foreshore and seabed for which they have title via a veto that his bill gives them through the planning process?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
No, because all existing use rights are maintained, and that point is clear.
Question